it's Kanoya, yeah, on the mind unveiled, yeah, what we gonna talk about today. Hello. Hi, baby, it's Kanoya, the honest Kanoya, the brand, you know who it is. We are here talking about persona. Okay, let's talk about persona from the perspective of a neurodivergent and neurotypical person, but let's just talk about it in general. Is it possible to have a persona and have it be healthy for you as a neurodivergent person and also as a neurotypical person, just in general? I might bring up neurodivergency because, you know, that's the video that went virally. I love that theory, right? And I've been working on like making a very polished version. I don't know when it's gonna come out, but it's gonna come out sometime, right? But I do want to talk about the persona and how it's possible to have a healthy persona, because I actually believe you can have a persona that is healthy. You know what? I actually don't believe it's even possible to live without a persona. Why? Let's get into it. Sorry, I needed to move. Didn't want the flash to be too crazy in my eyes. Because think about it, every single time you're with a person and you interact with a person, they create a version of you. They create a schema for you in your head that you have only a little bit of control over. Okay, most of the schema that they create is based on their own experiences. You know, I always like to say everything everyone says about you or thinks about you is at least 50% projection, probably more. Because think about it, like they have to create opinions of like whether you're good or bad, and that starts with like, what's a good, what's a bad? You know, if they're racist, if they're homophobic, if they're misogynistic, that adds into it. If they have any preconceived beliefs, that adds into it. If they believe one thing is cringe and you don't believe that thing is cringe, that adds into it. You know what I'm saying? So their opinion on you is based on their own experiences, not necessarily just yours. And so this is why it's always like very going to be impossible for you to ever control what people think about you. It's why you need to decenter what people think about you. You'll never be able to know fully what someone thinks about you, ever, right? But I do think that what you do have control over is the parts of you that are more forward-facing. Now, how people receive those parts of you is up to them. It has nothing to do with you. But how you decide to put what's forward-facing is up to you. And so a lot of times when I was talking about the neurodivergent neurotypical theory, which I'll link somewhere in this video, people were like, oh, this means neurotypical people are fake. Neurotypical people, no, I think neurotypical people are a little bit more aware of this fact. I think neurodivergent people have a little bit of an issue with the idea of perception. We don't really understand how things are perceived. Neurotypical people have a little bit more of a solid understanding on that. And so they kind of cater to that a little bit more, like want to cater their way that they're perceived by others, while we as neurodivergent people care a little bit more or understand more how we're perceived by ourselves, if that makes any sense. The issue comes in with the persona when your persona is made up to please other people. When your persona is made up to be the most appealing to the most people. Because again, number one, it's impossible to appeal to everybody. But it also takes you very far away from yourself. And this is where neurotypical people disconnect from self, because a lot of times, especially within the society that we have, that persona is like very like strict. Like they make it very strict, like a very strict way to be acceptable, to be something that like is good, to be approved upon by your community. And so because of this, a lot of neurotypical people have to jump away from their self into this fake persona to survive. It's a survival mechanism as much as our masking is. It's just easier for them, right? It comes more naturally. For us, when we tried, and for us I mean neurodivergent, when you ask me, what do you mean neurodivergent? Let's just say I have AuDHD. So most of my things are referencing AuDHD. But this can apply to other neurodivergencies, so I wanted to put that out there. When it comes to us as neurodivergent person, it's very unhealthy because we're more attached to how we perceive ourselves. And so when we step so far, it's so hard for us to maintain this fake, we don't live in this outside world, we live in our inner world. So it's hard for us to maintain this thing in the outside world, so much harder for us than neurotypical people who are already kind of like, who are configured to understand the outside world. I always say that there's benefits to both. None is better. But I feel like neurotypical people tend to be more configured to the outside world and the general world, while we tend to be more configured to the internal world. So I always say neurodivergent people, AuDHD again, remember, that's genuinely what I'm referencing to, but it can apply to ADHD, AuDHD, all that stuff. But neurodivergent people are more configured to the spirit, so the inside. So think about it. Neurotypical people are more concerned about what's going on here, while we're concerned about what's going on in here. And not just for us. So this episode is going to get into my spiritual theory. I believe if we look at the world, we're going to look at the world like this. Yeah? and this side's the physical world, and this side's the spiritual world. Both of them is equally complex. I actually believe they reflect each other. Like what happens in the spiritual reflects and moves similarly how it works in the physical. And both of them are deep. And every single person is also connected in the physical, spiritual as they are in the physical, right? We just don't, as a society, we kind of dismiss this spiritual aspect. So we think it's not valued. But neurodivergent people tend to understand this world more, while neurotypical people tend to understand this world. But having a persona makes you need to come into this world. And neurotypical people have an easier time. So it's so much more of a stretch for us to get into this area, right? But we are in this area, right? And so I think that as neurodivergent people, you can create a persona, but that persona has to be very more attached into what's happening on this side than what's happening on this side. Okay? So think about me personally. I'm creating my own persona. If you want to see Kanoya the brand, right? That's my fashion stuff. My persona is mystical core. That's something that I've been working on. Fashion-wise, I've been working on like mystical core. Dressing like I'm a fairy, dressing like I'm a siren, dressing like I'm some like creature that crawled out of a forest. Okay? And neurotypical people might say, okay, that's crazy. You look crazy. Like, what is your issue? Because it doesn't align with what is here, what they're told to be out here. But it is still a persona. You understand what I'm saying? It's still something that I'm intentionally projecting. That's the issue. I think a lot of neurodivergent, we're not intentionally projecting anything, right? While neurotypical people tend to be intentionally projecting something. And so to the perception of neurotypical people, it looks just a hot mess because there's no intention behind it. But we can add intention. It's just still not going to look like a neurotypical person. The issue with masking is we're trying to create a neurotypical persona. We have to create our own specific neurodivergent persona. And our own neurodivergent persona is going to be a lot more mystical. It's going to be a lot more whimsical. It's going to be a lot more, I don't even want to say intricate, but it's going to be it's going to have a different base. The thing is, people understand each other's persona. Like, they have personas for social reasons, while we have personas for perception reasons or for expression reasons. Again, a lot of this is in reference to myself. So if you look at my Instagram, I've actually been working really, really hard to create this persona for myself, right? And this persona is a very deep reflection. I decided to go with like fairy core or mystical core is what I call it. It's not big yet, but I'm gonna make it something. Don't worry, okay? Mystical core. Because I want to feel like I'm magic. And this definitely like relates to me because, you know, I'm very into spirituality. So I felt like this really reflected my interest. I also love pink. I love femininity. If you look behind me, you'll see I like a little like eclectic. I like very chaotic. I like very like maximalist. And with all of that stuff, it kind of comes out in my style, in the way that I talk, in the way that I act. Yes, do I put on a different personality? I won't say I put on a different personality. I put on a kind of highlight reel of my personality when I'm out with people I don't trust or I'm not comfortable with. I did say this in another video as well, that I feel like it's very dangerous to put things out there when you don't know who you're putting it out there for. Like, I think there's definitely a balance and openness, but some people will play in your face. Like, I think that's another thing neurodivergent people is that we tend to project as well and think that people have the intentions that we do when they don't. They don't have the intentions we do. A lot of people are out here to manipulate, especially because I've worked in the entertainment industry, or I'm trying to break into the entertainment industry. I've had some gigs in the entertainment industry. And it's very small. Like, I'm not out here in Hollywood or anything, but like with smaller artists, smaller fashion designers, smaller musicians, all of that stuff, right? People will do some shit to get to the top. And that's something I had to realize very quickly, that people only care about the fame. They only care about their perception. They only care about social climbing. That's one thing. It's the social climbers. And you have to be very careful about people who are willing to use you to their own benefits. It's more pronounced within the entertainment industry, but it's there, and it's always there. And no matter what industry you're in, even if you're not in an industry, even with just friends. So you just have to be a little bit careful about the things that you put out there. Not to fearmonger, because I put a lot out there and I still ended up fine. You know what I'm saying? You can put out a lot and still end up fine, but it's just to know, like, spiritual hygiene type thing, right? And so I had to realize I have to pick and choose what I put out there for my own safety, but also to create, and that sort of kind of creates this persona. And I feel like I've kind of been slowly creating this person, and I like it because I don't think that there was ever really a time that I cared enough to try and be conventionally attractive, because that's the thing, okay? I consider myself very beautiful when I am not dressed up. Like, you can say body is T. I got a nice body. Face is T. Skin is T. I look good, right? If I wanted to be part of the Bad Bitch Olympics, because I also know how to do my makeup, I can pose, I model a little bit. If I wanted to enter the Bad Bitch Olympics, oh Lord, I would dust you hoes. Dust. I just don't want to. Because I never really, really ever got into it. But I know I look at it and be like, that's not me. When I look at my page now, even if it's a little bit weird, I'm like, girl, that is me. Like, literally, I was just thinking about this. I was just looking at my Instagram page, and I do this thing recently, and I've been like so addicted to looking at my own Instagram page. Hashtag so obsessed. Ooh. And I would literally just be going like, I look like who I thought I would be when I was 8. I look like the characters in the book I would love to read, like Fairy Hollow. I love Fairy Hollow. I love me a little fairy that lives in trees. Like, I feel like it just makes me so happy. I'm exactly who I envisioned me, to the point where it's like sometimes I'm like, maybe did I see into the future? I do believe in spiritual gifts, right? And I do believe I have some spiritual gifts. I don't know what they are, but I do know that there's sometimes I just know things that I just know, and I can't explain to you. And I'm right. I'm quite right. There's sometimes where it feels like I literally predicted the future, and I said this is going to happen, and it happens. Scary to me. It's very, very scary to me. No, it's not. It used to be. It's not anymore. So I believe in spiritual gifts because I've had shit happen to me that I can't explain to y'all regularly. Like, how do I know half the shit that I know? I'm smart, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm like, did I see into the future as a kid? Because sometimes I'm looking like, this is the exact vibe I was feeling when I was a child. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, this is who I'm meant to be. That's what I see when I look at my Instagram, when I look at the pictures I take, when I look at the outfits I make, when I look at all that stuff. I'm like, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be. Like, and I only started feeling that very recently, so I just came into that. That is what a healthy persona is. For neurodivergent people, that is what the healthy persona is supposed to make you feel. Not like you're pretending and putting on a mask. Like, the person you have become, this character almost, is a reflection of who you actually are. And it's such a, like, I feel like it healed something in me. So yes, as a neurodivergent person, you can create a persona, but it's harder for us because we don't have a template. I had to go, like, if you're really going to be serious about creating a persona, you also have to be very okay with looking crazy. You have to be very okay with going out there and doing things that are like, because my getting to here like took a lot of like weird makeup looks, weird outfits, sometimes really bad makeup looks, sometimes really bad outfits. Sometimes I think about them, I'm like, Jesus, you wore that out. I don't even care what people think about me. So the fact that I go, you wore that out, that means I was something crazy, a little something wild. Like, so, you know, but I'm still proud of it because it got me here. It got me to this era that I'm in. This feeling that I'm feeling, that was the feeling that I was looking for. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to be okay with like a lot of experimenting because there's no layout that is going to be laid out for you. You know what I'm saying? There's no map. Like, neurodivergent people have a map. And that's like, also, I mean, neurotypical people have a map. It's so easy for them. I think that's also why it's also easy, because they feel comfortable falling into what they're told to be. Falling into like very set out personas for them. You know what I'm saying? We are not. We have more eclectic stuff, and it's going to make you look weird. So if you're asking yourself, can I have a persona? If you want to have a persona not to be weird, I don't know what to tell you. As a neurodivergent person, there's no way that if you create a persona, it's not going to be a little bit off. As in, it doesn't fit correctly. And I think that off is not wrong. It just doesn't fit correctly into the set out. I don't even know the default personas. It's not going to fit into that. You're not going to be default, baby. You were born, I like to call autism the weird ass kid syndrome. Weird ass syndrome. Like, you're just a weirdo. The weirdo syndrome. Like, ain't nothing you can do about it. Just lean into it, baby. And you can keep fighting yourself till the day you die. But you're going to be a weirdo till the day you die. So you either fight it or you lean into it. Those are really your only two options. And so the quicker you accept that, the quicker you can be happy. Okay? I feel like a lot of neurodivergent people, very depressed, very anxious, because we're trying to run away from ourselves. We're fighting ourselves. A lot of times we're trying to beat out the weird, and the only thing you're beating is yourself, because you are the weird. Accept it now or be miserable for the rest of your life. Those are your two options. It's either being weird or be miserable. And you can be happy weird. You can be happy even if nobody understands you. I hope you realize that's an option. So if you go into creating persona being like, oh, I hope more people are going to like me. Now that's the thing. More people will like you when you have a persona. Now some people are not going to be along with you for the journey. Like, one thing I'm going to tell you is that when you're on that journey to creating your own persona, it's a self-discovery journey. Because for neurodivergent people, we are bottom-up processors. We have to start from the bottom. Neurotypical people can just put on a costume. We have to create a person. We have to go down and discover ourselves first, and then create a persona on top of that. You cannot create a neurodivergent persona without knowing yourself. Neurotypical people can have the privilege of being able to do that. We can't do that. But that means when we do have our persona, it's going to be so unique and so authentic and so powerful, because I always say this, neurodivergent people develop slower but with more intricacy. Neurodivergent people, we have, let's say autism specifically, have heavier brains. People with autism have heavier brains, bigger brains, heavier brains, because we don't go through the pruning of the neurons. We don't go through the pruning of the neurons, which means we have more pathways. We don't have as many shortcuts. So it literally takes us longer to go from point A to point B because we have too many more pathways. But the thing is, once you have actually defined those pathways, your processing is more intricate than a neurotypical person who's able to figure it out quicker. You just figured it out with more detail. Same thing with personas. It's going to take you a longer time to create a persona than a neurotypical person is, because you're going to have to go deep into yourself. You're going to have to do shadow work. You're going to have to do shadow work. You're going to have to go do some self-love work. You're going to have to hype yourself up. You're going to have to figure out who the fuck you are first, and then create a persona on top of that. You can't do it the way neurotypical people do it. So you have to go in and discover, who are you? Who are you? What makes you tick? What do you like? And that process of self-discovery is going to kick out a lot of people. Neurodivergent people, we're more sensitive. We cannot be around energies we don't like. Neurotypical people will do this shit all the time, where they're friends with people they don't even like because it adds to their steez. It adds to their little image. We can't do that. We have to be with people who are aligned with us. We cannot simply just be around anyone. You can say it's a curse, but it is a curse and a blessing at the same time. To have that level of sensitivity, it's like princess and a pea syndrome. I also like to call us princess and a pea syndrome. So we have weirdo syndrome and princess and a pea syndrome. We are extremely sensitive. We need things to be more defined, to have more detail. They can do their generalized shit. We need to be specific. So take it, the people that are cut out of your life once you're doing that self-discovery and creating your persona, even if it's a little bit chaotic, even if it looks a little ugly, even if it's a little weird, if it's a little the people that will be cut out from that, take that as a blessing. What did I just say? What? I don't think I heard. Take it as a what? It's a blessing. Because those are the people who are going to get it. Do you know how many followers I lost? When I started experimenting, because my Instagram was like my open field experimentation. People thought I was doing it for the likes. I don't know. Maybe nobody thought I was doing it for likes. I never cared about likes. And there was a point I did care about likes, and then I just stopped. I definitely use my Instagram as my experimentation place, as the place where I would try out different personas or different versions of my persona. And while I was experimenting with what I wanted to be, what image do I want to put out, people I knew were following. My own fucking brother unfollowed me, bro. My own brother, he said, "You're annoying. I'm unfollowing you." I said, "Okay, bitch." I said, "Go, leave." My own family wasn't following me. They was like, "What are you doing, girl?" And then it clicked. And even now, it still will scare away. And at the moment I started looking at it as a blessing, those people aren't aligned. Why would I be mad someone who isn't for me is going to leave? Someone who's going to, their perception is going to continue to cage me and leave. Why? It's freeing me. Because as I was losing followers, something happened. I also started gaining. I started also gaining people who really liked what I was doing. And they were on the same type of wave as me. Let those people go. You so scared of weirding people out, and why? Are they scared of making you uncomfortable? You're scared of making them uncomfortable, or are they scared of making you uncomfortable in the cage that you are in? So why are you scared? You know what I'm saying? And so, while you're creating your persona, while you're doing that experimentation, people are going to leave. A lot of people are going to leave. A lot of people, a lot of the connections that you thought were close, you're going to show that aren't close. They only liked a fake version of you, and that's painful. Yes, but deal with that pain, because it's like, it's either ripping off the band-aid or taking it really slow. But regardless, you're going to get hurt. Rip it off. Rip it off so you can have space for something new. Yeah, so creating a neurodivergent persona, you have to really understand yourself first. So go do that shadow work. Do y'all even understand the amount of healing that I've done? I had to get to the point where I was like, okay, girl, you've done way too much healing. Just stop. Not that I'm gonna stop bettering myself, but stop making that your personality. That's another thing. Like, whenever you start doing this, you're gonna be in this healing period. Let yourself be in this healing period, but there's going to have to be a period where you step out of it. Right? Yes, I will heal, but that's a background. It's kind of like what I like to say happens spiritually. Okay, spiritual development is that you take something, it stays in your conscious mind until you understand it, and then it starts to go into your. It's like riding a bike or driving a car. When you first start driving a car, you're like, think about, okay, blinker, look right, this, okay, do this, and then eventually it's just like you're still doing those things, but it's like unconscious almost. That's how your healing journey is supposed to go. Like, yes, keep it here, but eventually you need to let it go. You need to let it go so it can move into your unconscious, and you can do it like with less effort, with less conscious thought, so you can use your conscious mind for something else. That's kind of the period I'm just kind of in, where I'm kind of transitioning out of the healing. Which, girl, y'all know this past year, I moved back home. Okay, a little bit backstory about me. I was living, like, I had a director job at a school. I was living in a nice downtown apartment, like, by myself. Like, I was living the life I thought I wanted. Like, I had graduated school. I was about to start my master's. Like, I had done all of that. And it fell apart. And I came back home, which I'm still here, baby. I'm still at home. I've been home for like a year, a little over a year, right? And I started healing. I was like, okay, well, that did not go well. Let's get to the bottom of why it didn't go well. And I've been healing for a year. And now I'm like, okay, baby, it's over. We done. Close that door. Pop, close it. And so now that I know myself to such a degree that I feel like most people don't. I think that's something that is also like, I very am appreciative about that period of my life, because that it like triggered me into knowing myself more than I think the average person will ever know themselves, even till the day like they pass. Like, they will not know themselves to that level. And so now that I know myself so well, I am now able to create a persona that is a reflection of me. That when I look at my page, I'm like, that's me. Not that I don't look at my page and go, oh, you bad, oh, you fine. I look at my page and I go, that's me, and you bad, and you fine. I go in my page, I'm like, that's like, you look like a fairy. You look like a fairy. Like, you look like a siren. You look like you look like magic, and you fine. You know what I'm saying? But that's secondary. That's secondary. Like, I actually have some pictures up there when I'm like, I don't look the most attractive on there, but I look like me, and so I posted them anyway. And that's just how you create a neurodivergent persona. You have to be a lot more patient. You have to be a lot more intricate, because remember, more connections in the brain, more detailed. But once you get there, it's going to be so much more powerful than someone who just put on a t-shirt. It's like sewing your own bodysuit rather than just putting a t-shirt on you got at the store. Which one's more impressive, baby? Which one's gonna be more custom made? Exactly. Don't be ashamed about being neurodivergent because you take things slower. Yes, we learn things slower. And this is why I also kind of like, yes, it's a developmental disability. And this is not to disregard the level 2, level 3, whatever levels there are of autism. Because I am like level 1 autism, I guess you could say, right? So high functioning. I actually am not as high functioning as people think that I am. But that's a whole different thing. Like, and I also could probably be because I have an other disability on top of my autism, my AuDHD, so that's probably it. But like, when you look at me, you think like, oh, that's a really high functioning autistic person, right? I know we don't use those labels anymore, but whatever. But it's like, I actually do believe, okay, and this is just my theory, and I came up with this theory, yeah. I came up with this theory a while ago when I was like bedbound, essentially. Like, right after I had to quit my job, I was bedbound. And I like came up with a really big, this is the beginning of my spiritual journey. I was like, all this time in bed, just in my head, in the spiritual realm, like really observing my spirit, because I'm forced to be in bed, made me realize some things I would have never realized if I was able-bodied. And I genuinely believe that disabled people, especially disabled people who have less ability to interact with the outside world, probably have such a deep, intricate spiritual world. And I think that's why sometimes like we should be working on getting accommodations, not just because they're human beings, because yes, obviously because they're human beings, but because like what is in those brains? What is in there? There's gonna be a lot of shit in there. There's gotta be a lot of spiritual shit in there. Like I don't fuck like I actually feel like this for sure. Like I feel like the less attachments you have in the physical, the more you have in the spiritual. That's why also children are some of the most spiritual beings that they are, because they haven't really fully attached themselves to the physical yet. I genuinely believe that. And so I believe that me having my disability and my autism and AuDHD has made me a lot more spiritual because I have more spiritual connections. But like sometimes I'm like, they're not, maybe not every single disability, but there's definitely something there, and we're just too busy being ableist to ever explore it. That's just what I think. That's what I just think. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's in it. Like I really like someone who's bedbound, who's on a ventilator. Like, how are you entertaining yourself? How are you? What? Because I know when I was bedbound, the shit that was going on in my head, I feel like I uncovered the secrets of the universe to the point where I feel like I uncovered so much it almost sent me to mania. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like oh my god, I uncovered so much shit that I was like, bitch, do I have superpowers? I feel like I just uncovered all the secrets of the universe. Like that's how much shit I uncovered. And honestly, I don't know if it was mania or if it was just me, because that's gonna get into a whole other spiritual theory we're not gonna get into, because I do believe you have to swing pendulum wise to get to a perfect balance. So sometimes you have to swing to one extreme to get back. I do think it was part of the process of my spiritual awakening, but that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different topic. Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna just round it up in saying that like you can create a persona as a neurodivergent person. You should go on the journey to try if you would like to. If you don't, go ahead, as long as you feel free. Definitely do it to be a reflection of your spirit, not a reflection of what people think you should be. And definitely do self-discovery first. But yeah, like it's really fun. It feels like an art project. When you start creating a persona to reflect your inner state and your own, it becomes like an art. It's so much fun. It's not exhausting. Y'all, I tried to do the persona before. That shit was so exhausting, sent me to depression, and I was always just, this is fun. This is fun, like creating my outfits. Like, how am I gonna look like a fairy today? How am I gonna look like magical today? How am I gonna look like me today? Instead of how am I going to make people like me? Two different things. All right, y'all stay blessed.